Hello guys, welcome to our channel. We helps to you how smartly you can tackle the numerical questions in GMAT test. Today I am going to explain about the statistics for GMAT. Guys, let's start our discussion. The topic is totally about the statistics for GMAT. Guys, guys, if you are preparing for GMAT, you should consider the few things for statistics. These are the mean, median, mode, range, and the standard deviation. For GMAT, nothing is more important than these things. Mainly, two measures are asked in GMAT. These are the measure of central tendency and measure of dispersion. Let's first talk about the measure of central tendency. They are the mean, the median, and the mode. Let's talk about the mean. Actually, mean is an average. It is also known as the mean value. When you come to the definition of mean, mean is also known as the mean value in the terms of magnitude of any given data, which is depends upon each and every sample. Let's turn to the median. Median is also an average. It can be obtained by picking up the middle value. When we come to the definition, median represents the central value of the data in terms of their position in ascending or descending order. It is irrelevant to the extreme value. Guys, let's turn to the mode. Mode is the most frequently repeated sample in data. When all the sample of the data are identical or same, then this can be called as the all mode case. For example, 5, 5, 5, 5, and 5. When no any sample are repeated, then it can be called as zero mode case. For example, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4, and 3. Let's compare the mean and median. Approximately, mean and median measure an average, but there are some differences between them. The mean is the mid value, whereas median is the middle value. Mean depends upon each sample, but median does not. Another important difference is it is not necessary to arrange the data while calculating the mean, but median is requires it. Let's see some example of the mean and median. Let's consider a data 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. We calculate the mean by summing all the samples and dividing by the number of observations. Here we get mean is 6 and median is also 6 because 6 lie exactly in the middle position. Again consider the data 2, 4, 6, 12, and 16. We get mean equals to 8 and median remains 6 because median is taken from the middle value. Now we can generalize mean changes when any sample of the data are changes, but changing in the extreme value does not matter or affect in the median. Let's turn to the calculations. Add all the individual samples and divide by the observations. But in GMAT, they don't ask to find exactly mean. Questions may be like the average of the integer from 200 to 400 inclusive is how much greater than the average of integer from 50 to 100 inclusive. To get the better score in GMAT, we should think smartly. Now, we have to learn some tricks to find the mean of certain type of data. When data is in arithmetic progression or follow any arithmetic pattern, then we can find the mean by adding the two extreme value and dividing by 2. We can take the previous example. To solve the example, find the mean of first condition, then find the mean of second condition as per the we have learned it, then subtract the second condition from the first condition. For summing case, if data is in arithmetic progression or follow any arithmetic pattern, then find the mean of such data and multiply by the number of observations. We can take the previous example for that. Sum of all the integer from 100 to 1 to 100 inclusive. Then we can find it by adding to extreme value and dividing by them 2 and then multiply by the number of observations. One more question for mean. 30 students had an average of X while 20 students had an average of 80. What is the average of entire group? If you think that you can find the average by adding these two average and dividing by 2, then you may be in trap. So for this type of questions, multiply the first average by the number of first observation and then multiply the second average by second number of observations. Then add these two multiplied value and divide by the total number of observations. Now you can understand this example very well. Some important notes for mean. While preparing for GMAT, we have to memorize that things. When data is in arithmetic progression, then mean and median is almost same. When each sample of the data are increased or decreased by the same value, the mean and the median must be increased or decreased by the same value. And same is with the multiplication and division except zero value. Let's turn to the measure of dispersion. Dispersion is just like variability or scatterness or spared. In statistics, dispersion is to extent to which a distribution is stretched or squeezed. Basically, two measures are important for GMAT, that is the range and the standard deviation. Let's turn to the range. Range is maximum dispersion of data. Range is also known as the differences between largest and smallest sample of given data. It can be calculated by largest sample minus smallest sample. For example, let income of 5 people in thousands are 10, 12, 14, 16 and 18. The range is 18 minus 10, that is 8,000. There are some drawbacks of range. The dispersion measured by the range is less accurate because it considers only two values. So we have to move. There are some drawbacks of range. The dispersion measured by the range is less accurate because it considers only two values. So we have to turn to the more accurate value. The more accurate measure of the dispersion is the standard deviation. It is a quantity expressing by how much the member of the group are differ from the mean value for the group. It can be also known as the in average how and by how much each sample are deviated from the mean value. Let's turn to the calculation. For taking the GMAT, no need to memorize the formula. We have to just know how it is calculated. Step 1. Find the mean. Step 2. Find the deviation, that is mean minus each sample and make it square. Step 3. Find the average of the deviation and remove the root. Sometimes to get the average of the deviation, many people subtract 1 from number of observations. Here it is not necessary because it reduces only the probable errors. While taking the GMAT, we should know some tricks. Standard deviation never be negative. Standard deviation of the identical data always is 0. Generally, if sample of the data are closer to the mean, then the standard deviation is less that of highly spared data from the mean. Standard deviation doesn't depend upon the numerical value of sample because it's measure only the deviation from the mean value. Let's compare the mean and standard deviation and range. Range is the maximum dispersion or scatterness of the sample in the data, whereas standard deviation is the average deviation from the sample from the mean. Range shows only the optimality of dispersion, but standard deviation shows actual dispersion from the fixed value. Range is irrelevant to the mean, but reference value of standard deviation is mean. Let's turn to practice. Let's turn to the practice. We have a questions like list 1 has 3, 6, 8 and 19. List 2 has x 3, 6, 8 and 19. The questions: if the median of the number in the list 1 above is equal to the median of the number in list 2 above, what is the value of x? Before answering the questions, we have to learn the process of finding median. In the case of even number of sample, it is so simple to find the median. Pick up the two middle value and divide by 2. Now we can see the solutions. And the correct answer is 7. Let's see another example. Researchers computed the mean, the median and the standard deviation for a set of performance score. If 5 were added to each score, which of these statistics would change? As we know, when same value are added in each sample, then the mean and median must be changed by the same value. So the correct answer of such questions is D. Let's turn to another example. In the questions, there are 3 data lists and asked to arrange the data from greatest to least standard deviation. As we know about the nature of standard deviation, when data are more spared from the mean value, then standard deviation is more, and the vice versa. With this concept, we can answer the questions. Now turn to the last questions. If the average of x and y is 60 and the average of y and z is 80, what is the value of z minus x? Solution. Get the average of x and y. Again get the average of y and z. Now subtract the first condition from second condition. Then we can get z minus x equals to 40. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you like, then please subscribe our channel and send us feedback. Thank you.